Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Straub Sports Show. Big bro here, checking in with little bro. Little bro, how you doing?
Not too bad. Made it in just in time for the show. I'm excited. We got some bowl games to talk about. We got some playoffs to talk about. It's going to be a good time today.
Absolutely. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to preview it here at the top of the show. Let's go. The Cuyahoga Falls Rapids official Rapids page rocking with us this week. We know what that means. We have bowl games to talk about, and here I'll hit it at the top of the show. We have our Ken college predictions in review. Yes, I've got my slideshow back up with our big red X's and our big green check marks, so we'll see how I did. But that's too much into the weeds for now. Welcome, everybody, to the Straub Sports Show. Like I said, Big Ken checking in here with little bro. Checking with you on the 216 Sports Network, but also officially, we always talk about it on the Straub Sports Show YouTube page. Shout out to that. If you're not watching on your phone, you can take your phone right there and scan that QR code, and boom, it'll take you right to the one-stop shop for everything Straub Sports Show. All our interviews, all our podcasts, everything in between. Where can you find the rest of that stuff? If you're not on YouTube, you can find us on X at Straub Sports. You can find us on TikTok for as long as it lasts at the SBSS. You can find us on Instagram at Straub Sports Show. And you can find the Spotify that I will update this weekend, Straub Sports Show. It's Christmas time. It's getting hard to update that thing. But that's not just us. Check out our people. Check out our friends of the show. My guy Austin at Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you're following the Instagram. I'm just going to keep pounding this. Make sure you follow the Instagram at Create Your Own Wave 2021. And make sure you go get that apparel at cyowapparel.myshopify.com. And aforementioned, the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids Facebook page. This beautiful zip up that I'm wearing. Shout out to the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids. Remember, the Straub Sports Show is the official broadcast team. Get it together, Ken. The official broadcast team of the Falls Rapids. The interview obviously did not go up yesterday, but I will be posting an interview tomorrow. Who's it going to be? I'm not telling you because that's how it rolls. But there will be a brand new interview tomorrow. Hey, I got to check in with Daniel, the owner of the team, and kind of sometimes he wants certain things a certain way. Listen, it's
maybe I want to know.
Yeah, too bad. Come do one. You can have one. No, I'm joking. But we will fiery today. But yeah, we will have an interview up tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. I do want to give a special shout out to my guy Daniel. I hope he is rocking with us in the comments. I do not have to give you details on the Christmas toy drive because this past Sunday there was the Christmas toy drive. There was an amazing turnout. We had Daniel, we had obviously the owner of the Falls Rapids, we had multiple players, we had some coaches. I want to give a special shout out to Rico, who also did his own donation boxes and brought toys through too. The lines were long. It was just an absolutely beautiful thing. And I want to quote my guy Josh Davis from Facebook, because Josh was a part of it, one of the players, and he was just like, this is the most awesome thing I've ever been a part of. And as somebody who this year was able to do my own charity thing that I took care of behind the scenes for a family, man, when you get to be a part of one of these things, it changes you, man. It really does, because it really opens your eyes to, number one, the reason we use Love Yours, because there is no such thing as a life that's better than yours, and you get to be a part of doing something that's just better than yourself. So shout out to everybody involved in that with Keys and Serenity. That toy drive was a major success, so big shout out to that. And also once again, shout out my guy Rico McGee. Remember, he is your Falls Rapids third man of the NWO, the third man in the booth with us on the field, taking care of all that stuff for us. Make sure you follow the Falls Rapids on Facebook, Instagram, official Rapids. Get it rolling, because that season is coming. That preseason game right there in May, baby. It's right around the corner, bro.
I am beyond ready. I'm very excited. That also means that some weather's coming up, some warm weather, so that will also be an exciting part. But I am more excited for the spring.
I also don't talk to you during this part, so I know I absolutely confused you there. And yeah, we can't wait either. I also want to announce, because it's official, I mean, I've known about it for a minute, but it's official. We're talking about it. That home stadium, Akron University. If check out the Cuyahoga Falls social media page over the past couple days to just find out everything you need to know and to watch a couple videos that you need to know. And last but certainly not least, Schmoopy Sweets and Treats. A big shout out to our girl Paula. We're sending her all the love right now. Make sure you putting in your orders, but my girl Paula, she needs a good shout out today. So shout out to her. Your Christmas is over. So if you haven't put your order in for Christmas, you're done. You lost. Okay. You are the black sheep of the family from this point forward. But if you did get your orders in, don't you worry. They'll be delivered to you and you are going to enjoy that. But as of right now, you can get your New Year's Eve custom cupcakes and cookies. They are available, and you get some free chocolate-covered pretzels with those orders. And always the breads and the cookies are available where? On the Facebook page. And remember, you have permission directly from the Straub Sports Show to slide into Schmoopy's Sweets and Treats Facebook page DMs and get your orders in. And I've got an update. Oh, check this out. Oh, cheesecake. Who doesn't love cheesecake?
Oh.
Like, let's go. Let's go. Right. Who doesn't love cheesecake? Get your order in of your cheesecake. And as you see, there's some gluten-free options. She takes care of you. Vegan options. Anything that you need. Get
white
your bacon.
Chocolate raspberry.
I know. Listen, I got Straub talking.
Oh my God.
I got Lil Bro talking during the friends of the show. We know it's good things going on. So big shout out to everybody involved here. And not on the graphic today, but before we get rolling here, I'll start the news myself. I want to give a big shout out to Akron City FC. They have moved up officially to USL 2.
That's awesome.
Yes, that is awesome. That's huge. We'll explain more on that when we have Nick on, the owner of Akron City, because he hit us up on the Facebook page when I shouted out that the show was today. He wants to talk Akron City FC. And you know what? We're going to bring him on to talk Akron City FC.
Absolutely.
And yes, Nick, sugar cookie cheesecake, my guy. Like here. And I'm just, look, this deserves one more.
Look at that. So, and that's a pepper one too. So, woo.
Right. Like, come on, man. That's unreal. Shout out to my girl, Paulo, once again. Okay. So that was my first news. Big shout out to Akron City. Straub, you got some news too.
Yes, it's kind of a funny one. So, as fans of baseball know, there's
third week in a row we are starting the show off with baseball hot stove. And
this is true. As baseball fans know, and honestly, probably non-baseball fans as well, the Houston Astros are a not severely loved organization outside of Houston.
I'd give a different finger if it wouldn't get me banned off YouTube.
Absolutely. And it seems it also extends into the actual baseball field, as St. Louis Cardinals third baseman Nolan Arenado has said he will not waive his no-trade clause for the Houston Astros. Now, it would be one thing if the Houston Astros were a team that was not good or a team that maybe was not ready to compete. This team is still pretty good, and the addition of Nolan Arenado would be a big boost. So I feel like the only reason as to why Nolan Arenado said no is because he does not want to be known as the team that allowed a trade for him to go to a team that is known as basically a bunch of cheaters.
Yeah, they're tainted. They're tainted forever. I mean, basically everyone who was involved in that, minus Altuve, is gone, and they still are going to carry this because. So, and it's hold on, they're still going to carry this because no one has a problem with you stealing signs. Everyone has a problem with you going to that extent, and it guys aren't going to forget that, because there are guys who retired that year who could have had rings. There was guys who, moved. There's deals that happened because a team didn't win. So many careers are affected because the Houston Astros are a bunch of cheating bastards.
So obviously when we talk about like team cheating scandals, right, we talk about this. We obviously talk about the 1919 White Sox that, accused supposedly through the game, through the World Series and everything like that. When it comes down to it, how long do you think it's going to take? Because we don't think of the White Sox as cheaters now. How long do we?
1919, I would hope not.
Well, how long do you believe that it's going to take for the Houston Astros as an organization to get over this cheating scandal? Because the head coach isn't there. Most of the players aren't there. I know the management's still there, but I would really highly doubt that is in the fans' mind as a thing. But what do you consider a good length?
So I would say another 3 to 5 years when a couple things have happened. Altuve is either retired and no longer with the team. Okay. And a lot of the players who were affected by this are getting older, over it, or retired. So those two things will help. Then when you get the third one would be get a new crop of young players who are not involved with this on the field. And then when we talk on the field, it will go away. However, as long as that's the same ownership and as long as that's the same management, every single time they make a World Series or they make a big game, it will get brought up. So technically, until management and that entire organization is rid of every single person who is involved, it will never go away. As for on the field, you got to get rid of Altuve. He's the center of it. And you need to then get a whole new crop of players that the league doesn't recognize as either guys who were there or guys that came in right after.
What I think, honestly, is that, yes, we are mad at them for cheating.
That too.
I think, in my opinion, I think it's the opposite. And here's why. We do not like them for cheating, but we also do not like them for cheating and then continuing to be good afterwards.
There you go.
I think to officially get over this, the Astros need to suck.
I agree.
And the way I look at this is look at the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
We, especially because they're fans as well, and I think the fans also play in the part in the Houston ones as well, we hated New England Patriots when they were successful through all of the scandals, through the Deflate Gate, through the Tuck rule, through everything.
And then we had to watch Mac Jones, and then we felt for them.
And we went, okay, they suck. They got their comeuppance. They had to watch a bad team after cheating and winning. It's over. If the Houston Astros go, like literally, if this year, that start that they had, if they had continued it and they had been bad, like fourth or fifth in their division, it wouldn't have gone away, but it would have really helped this because I feel like we feel like we're owed them being bad as a kind of reparation for them cheating. And so I think that's the key here.
I 100% agree. I think that also coincides with Altuve being gone, and you start to get a young crop of players, which means you're going to suck for a little while. And we'll finally let you slide. And then when you get better and you win one without cheating, all will be forgiven. However, the internet lasts forever.
I'm sure, but I think that there is definitely a time where you start to go, okay, there's no one connected to this at all.
Those two reels of the drum beat or the garbage can banging and Altuve refusing to have his shirt ripped off, those will live forever. When we talk about Jose Altuve going into the Hall of Fame, that video will be one of the first 4 videos that get shown.
And there's going to be people living up until they die that will not like the Astros because of this. It's the same reason that I guarantee you some of our grandparents don't like the White Sox because of this scandal until they died, because they lived through this and can never see them differently.
I'm glad you brought up the 1919 White Sox. I have a theme on this show where I pull for the degenerates. I want Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame as a player. The 1919 Black Sox, shoeless Joe Jackson deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Let me tell you why. Those guys were making pennies. Those guys had to have real jobs because they couldn't actually afford on a baseball salary to actually feed their family. Not joking how we do today where athletes live above the means and they can't afford. These guys literally got paid less than actual workers coming to watch their baseball games. The mob, we know now how much influence the mob had over all forms of businesses in people's lives. The fact that these guys threw the game because they actually got paid by the mob and they got paid more money than they ever had seen in their entire lifetime in that day and age, put those people in the Hall of Fame, man.
Agree or disagree? I think it's a mention, but I don't think they should go in the Hall. That's just me. But
I got you.
We can move on from that.
Put it in the asterisk section where you can put in Bonds.
It's a mention. It's a mention. Yeah.
You can put Bonds and Clemens and Rodriguez and Palmeiro and Bagwell and Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz and Travis Hafner. Okay.
For 1 year.
Even
year. Though he would make the Hall of regardless.
Hall of regardless. I know. I had to just do that to you one more time. All right. I've retired the name for a while. We're going to leave it alone. So it's time to give away some awards. Yes, I will give you that, Nick. Jeff Bagwell still has one of the greatest stances in baseball, 100%. Also roided out of his mind. No, I apologize. I you know what? I don't know that about you, Jeff, so I'm not going to say that. But let's give away some awards. Let's slap some people upside the back of their heads. It's time for your Straub bruh of the week. And as always, I go first. The situation at Marshall is 100% an absolute disaster. And on top of that, we pull for Marshall over here, okay? All right, we pull for Marshall. Now, I don't want to blame kids for leaving, okay? I don't like that, especially when their coach leaves. But former coach Charles Huff of Marshall was on the last year of his deal, and lame duck coaching does not work in college at all. It has never worked. They don't do that specifically for recruiting. So shame on you, Marshall. You're my first Straub bro of the week for not locking him up when they had the season that they did, won the Sun Belt, and were going to a bowl game. Now, he left for Southern Miss, which is, I don't know. Okay. I mean, I guess.
Can I input on that real quick?
Sure.
So while Marshall won the Sun Belt, Southern Miss was dead last in the Sun Belt. Same conference, literally flipped the table.
Yeah, so weird. So weird.
That's what baffled me.
So obviously he took the disrespect of being a lame dunk coach serious because he didn't even leave the conference. Now, Marshall has had so many kids enter the transfer portal, presumably to go with him, like Frank Zanetti at James Madison to Indiana. Excuse me. Marshall had to pull out of the Independence Bowl because they don't have enough players to field a roster to play. They were replaced by Louisiana Tech. Just head slaps all around here, bro.
Yeah, not great. You never want to lose a coach, especially a coach that brought you kind of that high.
Let him be a lame duck.
I never want to make assumptions on that because contract disputes could be for a number of reasons. I'm just more confused that nobody wants a head coach that led Marshall to a title other than Southern Miss, unless they were offering him an insane amount of money or NIL. I felt like he should have gotten a little bit more respect. Maybe he just didn't want to be a coordinator at a higher position. I don't know, but it's pretty interesting to see. But it's a very confusing thing, but I think the confusion of it adds to how ridiculous this is.
I think the problem for this guy is he's a year away from the move. I think he gets Marshall to this bowl game. He then gets Marshall good again next year, and he's off to a big job. But I think his hand got forced because he probably had to start fielding these phone calls himself, reaching out to teams in the middle of the season, knowing I got to get a job or I'm not going to have one. So I don't know, just head slaps all around. And to continue my college football dislike this week, we need to close the damn transfer portal during bowl season. Multiple coaches have spoken out on about it, and now the official college football show, the Straub Sports Show, is speaking out about it. It is a mess. I hate it. There's no excuse for it. You are damaging the integrity of the 12-team playoffs that you put in. because there are third stringers who may suit up in this game that are seriously questioning whether they are going to, if they've got a chance to go somewhere and start, and they know they may not, they may know the 3 snaps they may get hurt. How much effort is that kid giving you knowing he's making a deal behind the closed doors? Not to mention, just in general, teams are trying to get ready for bowl games. Marshall, who deserves to play in a bowl game this year, regardless of whether they have Matthew McConaughey himself actually coach Marshall, they deserve to be in a bowl game, and they're not going to be in a bowl game because they had all of their kids jump in the portal. Close the damn portal until after the national championship game, and you can literally open it the day the national championship game is over. What is the problem with literally waiting a month?
So I don't disagree with you because it's very bad for football. However, when we look outside of football and in terms of kids transferring a college or university, having to get them signed up for classes that have already started is a very sticky situation.
The classes
and I think
going to anyways.
Okay, the top 4 and 5 stars, sure, but your 2 and 3 stars that are majoring in engineering or business that actually want to get a job because they know they probably won't go do it after college. That's the biggest issue here. Is you're doing it for the love of the sport, but you also got to think of your future. And I think that's where it's a very tough situation where, yes, you're losing some of these bowl games and potentially, some good matchups. But if you don't do it, you're missing some of these guys being able to finish their degrees on time. And that's where
this is where you bring, this is why we do the show together. Dumb jock, college I went to college, but dumb jock, engineer, nerdy brother. You bring a different perspective to this, but you're wrong. And let me tell you why. You're thinking of this strictly as a student who graduated from the University of Cincinnati. There is so much money in college football and in college in general that if that is the problem, then the schools have enough money from the top to the bottom to make some exceptions and work these kids and make sure they get their classes right, even though they're coming in later than all the other students. It can be done, okay?
I'm sure it can be done. It's just a massive headache, especially I know hundreds of kids that are going into the portal.
What's a bigger now? And remember, I'm asking this to a sport
because this isn't just football. This is every sport.
I understand, but this isn't just a question for degrees. This is a sports question. What is going to cost more money? The chump change is going to cost to get these kids into their classes, or you continuing to mess with the integrity of this 12-team playoff in these bowl games that you are making billions of dollars off of. One of these bowl games alone can fix this entire problem for all of the schools.
I understand.
That's so the problem is the integrity. And lastly, yes, I have multiple. Last one, I'm sorry.
Fine, mine's just being a hater.
One of our favorite quarterbacks in college. Hey, Mama's checking in with us. Your favorite guys rocking along as we're head slapping everybody during the segment. DJ Uiagalelei has declared for the 2025 NFL Draft. Why is he a Straub Bruh of the Week for that? You have transferred 4 times and played college for 7 years. What else would you be doing?
I also don't believe he's going to make an active roster, but that's.
I think somebody will take a 5th or 6th round flyer on him.
I think he's going to be on a practice squad after the NFL draft. I think he's going to sign with some team, but I think that's just because they don't trust him.
We still love you, Sam Hartman.
Yeah, no, but it's not a bad thing. I just don't think teams trust him because of just the inconsistencies in 1, his teams, and 2, his play.
And because he's gotten worse as college has gone along. All right, bro, your turn. Sorry.
Yes. Listen, mine is short and sweet. Xavier Musketeers, you are my Straub Bruh of the Week. And why? Because the Cincinnati Bearcats, have broken the 5-year losing streak against you in the crosstown shootout with a 68-65 win. It was a glorious win in which I watched on my couch Saturday afternoon, and absolutely reveled in it as this team continues to impress me as we have a game against Dayton on Friday. But I will say the Straub doesn't go to Xavier for losing. It really goes to Zach Fremantle, their center, number 32, who had 15 points in the first half and proceeded to have 3 the rest of the way and missed a wide open game tying 3 to tie the game and send us into overtime. Take it. Just take it.
Wrong hand.
Go UC. I'm using the left one. It's fine. You're my Straub Bro of the week.
That is the most hater.
Oh, absolute hater. I told you it was a hater.
Killed Straub Bro of the week I've ever found. Okay. All right. Well, let's turn it around. It's time for your honorary Straub Bro of the week, presented to you by Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Don't ride the wave, create your own, and become a Straub Bro of the week. Straub, kick us off.
Yes, and it's a fun one, and I will give you credit. You sent me this one, but I did some research into it as well. It is the Vermont men's soccer team. Digging deep into this one. Why? Because they, in their NCAA College Cup debut as an unranked team, won the NCAA tournament for its first crown in soccer and only its second national title ever behind their swim team. Now, the crazy thing about this is, like I said, they were unranked. It was their first tournament. In the semifinal, they forced overtime with a late equalizer and then outlasted their opponent to make it to the final. And then in the 81st minute in the final, they had a game-tying goal, which pushed it to overtime. And then they won it with 5:06 left in the first extra period to win over number 13 Marshall. This is absolutely insane. I also want to apologize. It wasn't their swim team. It was their ski program that won a national title. So this is their second with the ski program. They're also the first unseeded squad to win it since 2006. And I think this is just absolutely amazing because they're also the first team in the American East Conference to ever win this in soccer. So props to them. Vermont, the Catamounts is their name. Absolutely fantastic. Good for them.
Bringing home the men's footy championship. In Straub Bro of the week to men's and I guess women's college soccer, who still have the golden goal overtime rule. The most. Listen, there's a reason I talk about hockey playoffs, but we won't go there. Okay.
Listen, I love golden goal. Love it.
Same here. All right, my turn. My first one, we're going to continue the footy. Ahmad Dallo for making it the Dallo Derby. As Manchester United keep Manchester red. It's always red. In a 2-1 win over Man City. We will have much more on that in the footy segment. I'm Manchester United out today, okay? I got it underneath the Falls Rapids. Second, this is going to turn into Drew's version of the Ashton Genty watch. My Irish girls, my Notre Dame women's basketball team did it again and dethroned another top team. This time, it was my girl Paige Buckner in UConn, 79-68 behind. Who? Your Straub Bro of the week? Hannah Hidalgo, 29-10-8 as Notre Dame has now cracked the top 3 in the AP poll. Lucky loves it. Go Irish. Let's go. That's coming up soon. That was the wrong one. Wrong prop. There's the prop. That's what we look like. Playing like a champion today. So my girl's there. And lastly, well, actually, I got 2 more. Quickly, though. Rico talked about it on the Rulers Minute. And I want to give it a shout out too. Norfolk State has hired Michael Vick as their next head coach. I'm not going to go into the other stuff that always comes up around Michael Vick. He deserves this. He is a great quarterback. He is going to do great things there, and I cannot wait for this to be successful, and he makes the leap to a program like Dion has. Let's go, Vic. I'm happy for this one. And then lastly, and we'll probably be one of the last ones to do it. But we want to send our much love to Randy Moss, who is fighting cancer. Get it, Randy? Cancer sucks. F cancer. Whoop his butt. Go Moss it. I love the tweet that he sent off himself. Let's Moss cancer. So big shout out to Randy Moss. We love you, Big Randy. And then I guess lastly, Nick is giving us the love. Your honorary Straub Brother of the Week are the Straub Bros, both playing in fantasy playoffs round 2 this weekend. Yes. After finally spending, and here I'll make fun of myself, after finally spending an entire fantasy year where I remember to set my roster, make waiver claims. Listen, the college football season takes so much life out of me that I wake up on Sunday mornings and I'm just like, oh, football is awesome. I can't wait to just watch and relax and then go, oh my God, I didn't set my fantasy. Not this year. Made it to the playoffs in both of my leagues, faced Gerald in both of my leagues, whooped his ass in one of my leagues. He got me by 2 freaking points in the other league. So I
saw that.
But I'm in against Craig this week. I don't know who you got, but
I got Dan. But I want to say I was in 5 leagues this year. Made the playoffs in 4 of them. Still in 3 of them. We're going strong. I'm in the championship in one of them this week. I'm in the semis in the other one. Let's keep it going.
We will never lose viewers quicker than when we start to talk about our own fantasy football teams. Nobody wants to. All right. Where's my boy Nick? Because it is time. Oh, banners. It is time to guard the land. Cavs edition. Presented to you by my guy Nick. I want to give Nick a big shout out. Like I gave him some love last week. I don't know a bigger Cavaliers fan than Nick. So I asked my guy Nick, I said, Nick, what do you want to talk about on the show? If I gave you the driver's seat, what would you want to talk about? So Nick is driving the comments, or Nick is driving the segment this week. So big shout out to him. I got no problems giving out love. I think one of the first things we need to talk about, and I agree with this, so I'm glad we are on the same page here, is how well this team is playing, regardless of who is in the lineup. Because we are not dependent on 4 to 5 guys for effort and unselfishness from this team. And that is why they are one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think that you obviously have 1 through 5 who can get it done. But I think you obviously have, Mobley, Mitchell, and then Garland most nights that it kind of got your top 3. But 4 through 8, maybe even 9, are so good at coming in and doing a job and kind of being there night in, night out, at least 2 of them, if not 3 or 4, and kind of keeping this team pushing when some of those guys don't have great nights. And I think it's absolutely fantastic to see how deep this team is. It's fantastic.
100%. Now, I got to eat some crow on this one because I did your generic sportscaster thing last week and was like, well, when you bring in a new guy, you're going to lose some games, and Cavaliers fans, I don't want to hear anything when they lose some games because they're bringing some guys. Well, they brought Max Strus back, and it really has not caused any issues. And I think the credit goes to Strus himself, Kenny Atkinson, and just the rest of this team just in general, that not only is he back, but Amani Bates is back up with the team as well. And they're just integrating guys in, and it looks like these guys have been here since camp.
No, that's and I think that's a sign of a great coach to be able to get guys in that maybe have needed to take some time off due to injury, or maybe guys later in the season that maybe don't know the system as well if they come in, that are able to just quickly adapt and adjust to this program and fill a slot that they need to be in and do it exactly how Strus needs to do it. That is a sign of a greatly coached team and a great system that maybe has a little bit more nuances than other teams, but in terms of the baseline knowledge that you need to play is simple and effective. And that's exactly how a coach needs to be at this level. Simple, but effective.
And I just thought at this point, this is not a dig on former Bickerstaff of Bernie. But last year we had injured. I'm Bernie Bickerstaff. Did I just shout out his dad? I definitely did. JB. Wow. JB Bickerstaff.
Shout out to Bernie.
Man, listen, I was around when Bernie was coaching. Leave me alone. The thing about JB was we had injuries last year and the year before, a lot.
Yeah.
Every time a guy would come back, it felt like the offense would drag. It felt like it was like, oh my, it was pulling teeth trying to get these guys back in. He's put 2 guys back in the lineup over the past week and a half, and it's been no issue. So yeah, I think that does go down to Kenny, and that's the reason this team has been good for years. There is a difference this year, and if you're somebody who like us or like my guy Nick, who watches every single Cavaliers game, I don't watch every single Cavaliers game. I ain't about to lie to y'all like that. But if you are one of those people, you can notice clearly there is a difference. Now, my guy Nick's going to like this one because I cooked this one up myself. He made a mention, and I think it's fair to talk about that. Regardless of the hot start and the good play, with the physical play and the injuries, is it time to explore once again the Darius Garland trade? But what my comment was, is it time to take Garland, Okoro, and every draft pick that you have and send them to the Miami Heat for Jimmy Butler?
No,
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
So you have a ball-dominant guard in Donovan Mitchell. You have a ball-dominant guard in Jimmy Butler. And then you have Evan Mobley, who definitely needs his touches because he likes to work on the low block. Who's getting that many? Nobody. The reason why Garland is so good in this offense is because he doesn't need the ball. He works off of players. He passes. He's able to get guys open. And then when Mitchell wants to have the ball, he can sit, find a pocket of space, and either kick in for an easy pass and layup or sit on the outside and wait for a kick out to shoot a 3. I'm sorry. No. The reason why Jimmy Butler doesn't have a ring is because he is a ball-dominant guard in Miami, in Chicago, in Philly, in Minnesota, and it doesn't work with the teams he's been on, and it's not going to work with us.
The reason Jimmy Butler doesn't have a ring is because Bam Adebayo isn't a number 2, and Miami has never given him a true number 2. Wait, Philly regrets trading him because he was the guy to have kept with Joel Embiid. They made the wrong decision. They have admitted that. And Minnesota, if you hear the stories that Jeff Teague tells about what happened in Minnesota, another team that blew it and knows they traded the wrong guy. So I think what Jimmy has needed all along is another guy to go right with him. And how about it? Now, here's the thing, man. This isn't football. This isn't soccer. Okay. This isn't baseball. Okay. This is the NBA. Stars still win championships. Give me a star. Give me Jimmy Butler with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, okay? And then we're gonna just flip the Kendrick line, okay? It'll be F me. Let's go big 3, okay?
No,
I'm hoping
this is, and I hate to kind of mesh this together. This is Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson talk. This is, what we're doing right now, even though it's great and we haven't done this for so long, hasn't done. We're going to kill it because we don't think it's good enough right now. And so, shut up. Let me finish talking before you start pointing out shit that doesn't even belong to what this is. You start cutting it out because it's not working right now and not letting the team gel. You say, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to go get somebody else that, by the way, is past his prime already. His prime was when he made the finals in Miami. Don't give me any of this.
Donovan Mitchell's in his prime, so Jimmy could be the 2.
Just for Jimmy to be able to not play well in the playoffs, and then we don't have another option to go to. And then we lose again, and we go, oh no, we're stuck with Jimmy's big contract while Miami gets to restart again with Darius Garland.
And let me counter that. First of all, this is true. Drew Holiday and Brunson will absolutely own Darius Garland in the playoffs. That is a fact.
Sure.
Now, hold on. Now it's my turn. Number 2, Jimmy Butler will do the thing that the Cavaliers have not had in the playoffs since LeBron James left. And that is a guy who in the middle of a series can go, get on my back, I got this game. If you put Jimmy Butler with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, who during the rest of those games can go, hey, now you can take your night off where you only have 18. I've got the 24. Mobley's got the double-double. We win again. This is a gentleman's sweep. We're on to the next one. So I get everything that you're saying for the regular season. But come playoff time, when you're going up against New York and Brunson's having that game and Mitchell already had his and he can't match it again the next night, Jimmy Butler steps up, has 45, and boom, Cavaliers win again. And if it's okay, so here, but now we are still arguing over the fact that I only said Jimmy Butler. So take Jimmy Butler out of it because you're kind of only responding to the Jimmy Butler part, which is my fault because I did say
you proposed that trade.
I did. In general, is it time to start to explore the Darius Garland trade? Because how well this team is playing. We just talked about Kenny Atkinson can move guys in and out and integrate them in the lineup. So I wouldn't be if we traded a guy, I don't think we would have a problem. But we know what Darius Garland's problem is going to be in the playoffs. Is it time to explore a move if you can get something and someone bigger who can also score?
No, this is crazy talk. We are 23-4. Donovan Mitchell is averaging 23 points a game. Darius Garland is averaging 20 and 7. Evan Mobley is averaging 18, 9, and 7. Don't give him the ball with a minute left. He's still going to be able to pass the ball.
Remember the Boston game where he pooped himself again?
Cool.
That's going to show up again in the playoffs. That didn't change because Kenny Atkinson came in. And I agree with this. His value is high and the contract is high.
Sure, man. Listen, if you want to trade away these assets and these draft picks for the equivalent of Jimmy Butler, and then inevitably when we don't make the finals again because we're not going to, because we're not balanced enough at that point, and then we're stuck with that bloated contract with whoever we get, sure, let's do this again because we're too afraid of being the Atlanta Hawks. That's the issue. Everyone's afraid we're going to be the Hawks. How about we don't think? No, we're not. We don't have a streaky three-point shooter in Kyle Korver. We don't have a weak point guard in Jeff Teague. And we don't have a shoddy big man in, what's his name?
Hold on, pause. You could argue and you could win that regardless of a 26-4 record, over what we've seen this past couple years out of Darius Garland, that regardless of the gaudy numbers and the win streaks during the regular season, when this thing streaks down to half court and it's not scoring 30 points a game, not him specifically, but not scoring 30 points a game because a team doesn't care about running back on defense because it's the second night of a back-to-back, and that's not happening in the playoffs. When the court shrinks and it gets to money time, we have seen year in, year out, that is not what Darius Garland is good at. So if you have a high value right now, when you have an arguably a star in Donovan Mitchell and a rising star in Evan Mobley, you have a weak third spot. Darius Garland is a weak third spot. If you match him up in the playoffs and you are going blow for blow with the Bucks, or if you're going blow for blow with the Celtics,
39 against the Bucks. He scored 39 and 27 against the Bucks. Dude, what are we talking about?
This right here, we're talking bigger picture. The regular season doesn't matter.
Oh, sure. I don't want to argue with you on this because you are never going to convince me that trading a 20-7 player a night in, night out because he's had a couple bad postseasons with a coach that has misused him for 3 years is the right idea. I'm never going to agree to that. I'm sorry.
So let me ask you this. If we get bounced out again, because Darius Garland once again has a...
Then we can have that conversation, sure. But listen, if you were going to tell me that a man who is resurging his career since last season because he actually has a coach that's competent and can use him well, if we're just going to if we're going to not blow this up, but if we're going to drastically change the core dynamic of this team because we have a feeling that this isn't going to work out in the playoffs, I think everyone's crazy. And I think we're jumping on this too soon because we're too scared of, one, being the Hawks, but two, we're doing the exact same thing we did with Baker Mayfield and the Browns. We blew it up because we didn't think we were good enough. We drastically changed the team. Now look where we are. We were out without draft picks until now, and we have a quarterback that can't throw the ball with a bloated contract.
Get out of here with your Browns talk. I think you're drunk on Guardians, and I think you're...
I'm not. I'm not
this is
being
you're done
crazy.
talking. Let me talk now. This is the opposite of the Guardians, where you don't make a move because the team is so young. I think we have reached where this team's ceiling is going to go with Darius Garland as the third member of that squad. But listen, and I agree with this take on from Nick. I like Garland. I would hate to see him go to. I want to ring without LeBron, and I think we're closer to the ring with a trade of Garland than we are with keeping him. You would get 20 points back, but we're gonna move on because I'm perfect. Do you know why I'm perfect? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I am perfect. It is time to talk about our NFL, but before we talk about our NFL, I wanted to bring in my NFL bets because they're perfect. Because I absolutely killed it last week with the most perfect parlay of teams and stretches that I have ever put together in my life. And if you bet on this, you're welcome because I didn't. But yes. So that means we're going to move on to the NFL. But I guess I want to say this here. And you know what? This has got us too fired up. I know I'm messing up graphics, and this has got us too fired up. So I want to leave it on there. I want to go back. You answer that question then.
No, he's not untouchable
this year.
But no, I still don't believe he's untouchable this year. If you want to trade Garland for a point guard of maybe a little lesser quality and a backup big that's going to help when Mobley or Allen is either hurt or getting bodied like they did against, I can't think of the team they played against. I think it was Boston, where he got bodied by Al Horford of all people. Then maybe some more. Then sure, but getting a ball dominant guard to match with Mitchell when you don't have hold on when you're losing a pass first great player in Garland, sure. But I'm not. But we're talking, you said an equivalent. A ball dominant guard is what you're looking for to say, give me it, let me put the ball in the bucket. You have that with Mitchell. You don't need a second one. And if you're losing a great facilitator as Garland, you should at least get something close to his value and then something that's going to help your weakness, which is your toughness down in the paint.
So this is my problem, because you went all that screaming at all of us, calling us all crazy, losing your damn mind. But then you also just said you would trade him for basically a lesser point guard and a backup big. Like, for you who just screamed about let's let this run where we think we're the Hawks, but he's not untouchable to a lesser point guard and a backup big, kind of proves my point.
I don't believe so, because I think we're not talking about his equivalent in terms of points per game. We're talking equivalent in terms of team needs, which is if you were going to have Mitchell, you need someone that's going to be able to get him the ball in areas so he doesn't have to take double teams every single time. And then we also need a big that when a Steven Adams comes in and starts absolutely bodying people, we need someone that's going to contest that, because Tristan Thompson isn't going to do that. Jared Allen and Mobley are good shot blockers, but they're not good when it comes to actually getting physical. So those are what I would look for, but I don't think another ball dominant guard is going to help this team at all.
Pause. That's so. Once again, you keep saying ball dominant guard. You keep going back to Jimmy Butler. Stop for a second.
Name me somebody else then.
I don't need to. If you're accepting, no, because listen to me for a second. If you're accepting, and read my comment to you, if you're accepting that Darius Garland could be traded for a lesser point guard and a backup big, to me, you're admitting that this team has reached its peak with Darius Garland. Because if it hadn't, there's no way you would be trading him for a lesser point guard and a backup big. You would never say that about Evan Mobley. You would never say that about Donovan Mitchell, because you don't think this team has reached their ceiling with them, so you would not trade them. If you are willing to trade a player for a lesser player and a backup, you've reached your peak with that player.
Sure. I never said that Garland wasn't flawed or Garland hasn't reached or is getting better. I say he fills a great role because he is a great point guard. The only thing I would trade him for is something that would fit the team more, not something.
The problem is I started this with the Jimmy Butler trade. If I had also come out to you and said off rip and said, hey, Have the Cavaliers reached their max with Darius Garland? Is it time to package up something and get the best that you can for him? I think your answer off top would have been different than, oh, hell no, I don't want Jimmy Butler.
But I think because you said it doesn't have to be Jimmy Butler, but someone like Jimmy Butler. And so I'm equivaling it to a guy like a Brandon Ingram who is going to want the ball consistently, especially down the stretch. And I feel like if you have two guys like that in Mitchell and Butler or Ingram or whoever, that's going to be an issue, especially when you don't have a guy who's going to give them the ball.
I would challenge no offense, I would challenge how much you've seen Brandon Ingram play when he doesn't have to be the ball dominant guy. Brandon Ingram can absolutely stand in a quarter and knock down threes, but when Donovan Mitchell can't break down the defense, he's a guy who can also do it easily himself. So that would be you could get the best of both worlds out of a trade like that with Brandon Ingram.
But I also don't think that this trade is ever going to happen, but
yeah, I don't know what New Orleans is so weird. You don't know what they're doing. They should blow it up, but they don't want to. But my thing is off top. I didn't necessarily say I wanted a ball dominant guard. I just wanted a star. So that was why the Jimmy Butler thing came up.
But your star is going to want the ball, and that's the issue.
I feel it, but I think we both agree on this, and I think that's where we should leave this. If it is time to package Darius Garland with some things and see and talk and make phone calls and see what you can get. And if you can make a major upgrade to this team, you absolutely pull the trigger right now.
I also think I am very much, it has to be the best deal. Like, we are winning this. Absolutely. There's no question about it. But I also believe that we are also too stuck up on, absolutely not. I also believe that we are still stuck up on, we have to win with a LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love dynamic where you need these three big stars to win. We're not facing the 2016 Warriors here.
I disagree because that's not in my thinking at all. I've seen that Darius Garland at that size and that skill set gets eaten up when it comes half court time in the playoffs. And he doesn't always do great half court during the regular season too. It's just that when you hear guys talk about the NBA, the regular season is so much fast break. It's so much let outs. That does not happen in the playoffs. So that's Nick, you wanted your 45-minute Cavalier segment. Damn near got it, baby. I got you. Now, let's talk NFL. Let's move on. Okay? We ready? You done yelling at me?
I'm not angry. I think that the rest talk is not crazy, but I think it's a little ridiculous looking at it. I know the regular season doesn't matter, but looking at a 23-4 team that went undefeated to start the season, I think is a little weird to start talking about, okay, well, what do we get for Darius Garland? You know what I mean? This isn't a 500 team or a team that's kind of breaking into the playoffs that we need a boost. We
can agree to disagree, brother. It's all good. It's all good. As long as you stop yelling at us, because the rest of the comment section and anyone
else off my lawn.
And anyone else who watches this back will not agree with your assessment that you were not angry, but that's okay. Now, let's talk NFL. And once again, because you're going to make me repeat it, let's talk about how perfect I was. Boom. There it is once again. Last week, I absolutely nailed it. 11 for 11. I don't know what else you want from me. I don't know. Okay?
What we can put the bet in?
Yeah, to put the bet in. Right? So let's get to this week's scores and results. Straub, throw those up for me. Let's talk about the talking points. The Lions are an absolute mash unit. And I've got to believe that this actually might really dent their Super Bowl chances, because when they put an entire graphic up of players hurt, it's always bad for a team. When they put the entire graphic up and it's all from one side of the ball, you're done. This offense is great. Okay, Jared Goff should actually be in the MVP conversation. He shouldn't be the winner, but he should be allowed to be in the conversation because this offense is great. This defense might as well have guys off the street because they are literally just decimated with injuries. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that I feel so bad for Lions fans because I saw a comment saying this is the best Lions team he was like, I am 35. This is the best Lions team I've ever witnessed in my life. and is going to be destroyed by injuries, and we are not going to win the Super Bowl because of it. And I can't stand here and be like, but you never know. I might have to agree with him because when it comes down to playing in the NFC and playing these big teams, you need everybody because the Falcons are coming in hot. I know the Commanders aren't, they're kind of up and down, but they're still really good.
Falcons?
I said the Commanders.
You said the Falcons first.
I think I was going to say Washington, and I stopped. Yeah. But anyways, the Commanders, they're up and down, but they're still really good when they can be. And then you got to face either the Chiefs or the Bills, who are the two hottest teams in the AFC right now. And so they're a great team. They're a gutsy team. They're a gritty team, and they're going to find a way to always keep it close. But this might be another heartbreaking Lions story where they are this close but can't get there.
They're going to run into that Bills situation where they scored, but then the other team drove right down and kicked the game-winning field goal or got the game-winning touchdown. Now listen, things have happened. Teams have been decimated by injuries before and have made runs. I just don't know when too many is too many. But I'm rooting for this Detroit team.
Absolutely.
Some other big points. Philly is back, and the Steelers show us that they are mid-pack.
So we're just not going to go through the scores. It's fine.
Oh, I'm going to at the end. You don't have to jump around. I'm hitting the talking points first, and then we'll run through the scores.
Okay.
I noticed Daniel is missing. He usually does go missing when his Steelers lose. He usually does comment under the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids account. Yet we're exposing you, Daniel. So I'm not surprised he is missing. But I mean, realistically, this is what it comes down to. I was dead on with my prediction that if the Steelers got the Russell Wilson from Denver, 26-4, I've repeated that stat more than SportsCenter, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in Denver. If he brought that to the Steelers would have won their first round playoff game. The Steelers right now look like a team that might be able to win their first round playoff game, which is exactly what I said. I don't know why I know they got hot and all of a sudden we wanted to crown them and make them Super Bowl contenders. They're mid, and that's okay. That's what they were going to be. And that's what exactly I said they would be if they got the best out of Russell Wilson. And now if the defense turns out to be electric and Russ has one of those magical playoff runs, yeah, they could make a run possibly, but this is what they are.
So the AFC North uses, and probably the whole NFL uses this phrase, the Browns is the Browns, because the Browns are going to do what the Browns are going to do, right? They're always going to choke it or they're always going to yada, yada. Honestly, this is exactly how we should describe the Steelers, because the Steelers are the Steelers, at least in the past, 6 years. They finish either right out of the playoffs or they are going to finish in the playoffs but then get upset by either a hot team or get beat by a better team that's going to either go into the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game. This is the Steelers' MO, and it always has been. They went 9-6 and 8-8 in 2018 and 2019. They went 12-0, I think, or 11-0 in 2020. Ended up losing to the Browns in the first round of the playoffs in the wild card. Then 2021, 9-7, lose to the Chiefs. 2022, 9-8, missed the playoffs. 2023, 10-7, lose to, I believe, the Chiefs or the Bills again. And then this year they are 10-4. Sorry, they are 10-4. This is who the Steelers are. They are a team that is on the cusp of making the playoffs every year, but they're not good enough to be making a run. And unfortunately, it's the coaching mentality. It's an aging roster, and it's a team that just in a management that isn't ready to break it down, strip it for parts, and then start rebuilding. They are holding on to believe if we could just get one more player, if we could just get the right quarterback, we're going to make it. No, you have a decent running back, an okay wide receiver. You have a good defense, but you really don't have a great linebacker core. And your quarterback is good sometimes, is bad others. It's a very average team, like you said.
My counter is good wide receiver because this offense actually looked really, really good when George Pickens was healthy. So I'm going to give him that. And I guess the counterpoint.
That's why I said core. As a whole unit.
I understand. My counterpoint, and I'll speak for Daniel here, if Pickens is healthy through this stretch and these results are different, this conversation is different. We're not sitting here saying, and it wouldn't be fair to them to say, had they beat Philly, oh, they're mid, they're not. they're showing us what we thought they would be, which is why we get to back it up and say it's true. However, if they had gone out and were healthy and beat Philly, we would have to be eating it, because we would have to say, well, they just beat one of the teams that a lot of people consider the best team in the NFC. Well, damn.
Yeah, that's a big if, though, because you only scored 13 points, and I know Pickens would have helped, but I don't know how much it would have helped. So if they had won with Pickens, yes. But who knows if they would have. So I can't deliberate that.
Got you. Next point. And we both completely blew Straub Bruz of the week. Devondre Campbell did the one thing that you cannot do this week, and that is quit on your teammates as he walked off the field during the 49ers game. Back that up with a couple more details that kind of trickled out later on in the week, because everybody saw that he left in the third quarter. What people did not know is he began to refuse to go into the game during the second quarter, which caused general manager John Lynch to actually come down on the field, I think presumably cuss him out. And then it was himself, John Lynch, who then sent him to the locker room. Just a horrible situation all around. I'm just going to echo and say whatever all of the players, the Ryan Clarks, the Jeff Saturdays, the Shannon Sharps, what all of those guys have said, exactly. That's all I have to say on that. I will mention that the 49ers then suspended him for the last 3 games of the season so that he would not get paid those games as well. I'll leave that to everyone else to figure out whether or not they agree with that. That's not for me to decide.
So, obviously, we've seen teams that had very high expectations flounder, and the frustration that comes with it. And it's normal. And so, while I don't believe that what he did was fair to his teammates or the fans or anyone involved in the organization, this ultimately comes down to how does the team feel about him in this situation. If the team says, you know what, it was a shitty thing, but we understand his frustration, we're good to have him back, I'm cool with that. But if they're going, no, he tattered, this season even more, and he doesn't belong in this group anymore because he didn't ride with us through the tough times, that I can back them too. I think that's kind of what I'm looking at here is, and I don't agree with it, but I'm also not in the situation where I have to be the judgment of his character.
And I think the suspension speaks and gives you an answer to what you just said. Now, I will echo what Bart Scott said. Yeah. I will echo what Bart Scott said first. He was brought in because, and I apologize because I can't. The names are gone from me right now. There was the linebacker that got hurt for the 49ers in the Super Bowl who tore his ACL. They signed Devondre Campbell to replace him because he was injured. He is healthy now. He's come back. He played in this game, and it made Devondre Campbell possibly lose. Well, he lost the starting job, and he also obviously lost a majority of his snaps. So he was already upset. Probably didn't know if he wanted to play. But once you're 90 minutes before the game and you're on that list, frustration or not, it's unforgivable. I get it. But specifically to the 49ers, the reason he was suspended 3 games so he doesn't get paid by the 49ers have Ricky Parasol, who was shot in the chest during the offseason, who got back and has played this year. Trent Williams, and I apologize that I do not know the wide receiver's name, and that's kind of unforgivable for me for what I'm about to say, but I apologize for it. He was the one who spoke after the game who basically said it don't matter, he's going to get cut anyways. But both of those players had their wives miscarry, and they lost a child throughout this season, okay? The wide receiver played the day that it happened. His wife told him, go play in the game, please, for us. And he went and played that day and scored a touchdown. Okay. Trent Williams, who's been injured, has been trying to get back, and while dealing with that, has dealt with the death of a child as well. Those guys in your locker room are sacrificing their personal lives to be on the field when their issues are bigger than football, and every one of them would have the right to walk away and not be with the team and say, guys, I have to be with my wife, or I need to rest the chest that I got shot in. But no, they all are on the field or around the team. And this clown who lost some snaps because the better player is back doesn't want to suit up and doesn't want to go to war for his team. I got no respect.
Listen, Like I said, I don't agree with his decision. I wouldn't have done it if I was on the team and there wasn't a heartfelt apology and a willingness to get better. I wouldn't want him on the team. That's ultimately up to the 49ers organization. I think the team themselves, because if a guy like Trent Williams or Ricky Pearsall can say, no, it's a moment of frustration, I'm good with it. If they can say it, then I think they're good. But I think it's up to the team itself to fully want him back.
And I think that's why they did it, because as a guy who suited up in a locker room on a collegiate level with myself and other guys who were probably not always at the top physical ability to actually be on the field, okay, I still suited up for my brothers, okay, and my teammates, okay, because that's why you're there. And my problem with that is I'm a 35-year-old man who walks around like I'm 65 because my hip and my knees are blown to absolute hell from soccer. I regret how I took care of my body, and I regret that I put so many miles so early on my legs, but I don't regret lining up with my teammates arm in arm every game and putting everything that I had on the field. And that is the exact, I just, no,
I get it.
Let's ride through the rest of the scores. Oh, hey, did I mention that Josh Allen's the MVP? Yeah.
Can he not? All I ask is that he not play that well this week because I'm playing him in fantasy. In the championship game.
I played him last week and I survived. Or no, actually that is the game I lost. So there you go. The rest of your scores: the Rams over the 49ers, 12-6 in a great Thursday game. Chiefs over the Browns, 21-7. That marred by the late injury to Patrick Mahomes, who is week to week and not good for me. He is my winning fantasy leagues quarterback, but I got Bo Nix in the helm. Ravens took care of the lowly Giants, 35-14. The Jets won a game, 32-25. Don't look now, and I know we ride on the Jets. Aaron Rodgers has actually played really, really well the last couple of weeks. The Jets' defense has actually not played well, but we don't want to talk about that because of all the things Aaron did at the beginning of the year. My Cowboys, that defense showed out and won a game, 30-14 over the Panthers. Commanders squeak out a win somehow over the lowly Saints. That should have been a bigger score, 20-19. The Bungles don't bungle, they bangle, 37-27 over Will
11
Levis.
turnovers that game, by the way.
And like 25 penalties. It was awful. Just an awful game, regardless of the score. 37-27 over Will Levis and the Titans. Possibly the end for Will Levis in Tennessee, as he has once again been benched for Mason Rudolph. That's when you know it's not going well. You're going to be Mason Rudolph here soon, Will Levis. And then the Texans beat up on Tua and the Dolphins, 20-12. Nothing has gone right for the Dolphins this year, even though Tua has come back and has not played horribly, but it just hasn't gone well. My guy, Bo Nix, took care of the Colts, 31-13.
3 interceptions that game. It was the defense that really sealed that. When it was 21-13 late in the fourth, and then 2 awful turnovers by Anthony Richardson. Oh, I guess the Colts and Anthony Richardson sealed that game.
And Jonathan Taylor not running through the end zone and flipping the ball out and letting it go out of bounds too in the worst play of football. That helped as well. Well, Bo Nix was on my fantasy bench, so he's my guy this week. It didn't cost me. Cardinals over the Too much fantasy talk. Cardinals over the Patriots, 30-17. Bills over the Lions, 48-42 in, man, what we could hope would be a Super Bowl preview, because that would be an awesome
fantastic
game. But just an absolutely fantastic game. Pretty much marred by the fact that the Lions are just so beat up on defense. They have to take gambles and onside kicks and stuff like that. By the way, NFL, I get that you wanted to clean up the kickoff. I am one of the very few people who like the new kickoff rule because we were going to lose kickoffs. So I like this because it did save the kickoff. They are still exciting. Stop making teams declare when you're going to kick an onside kick.
Yeah.
We need to put the smart people in football together in a room and fix that, because with a team like the Lions, they need to be able to surprise a team with an onside kick. But that's for another day. Baker touchdown maker and the Buccaneers over the Chargers, 40-17. We did talk about it. Eagles over the Steelers, 27-13 in a slugfest. Green Bay beat up on the Seahawks, 30-13. That one marred as well by a Geno Smith injury. The Vikings showed you that they are for real, 30-12. Don't look now. If the Vikings went out, They have a 98% chance to win the NFC, marred by some freak tiebreakers. They do have to play, though, Green Bay and Detroit. So that's a tough stretch for them. And then in your other Monday night game, which was just awful, and I only watched because I had to watch for Drake London and Bijan Robinson, but more fantasy. The Falcons over lowly Desmond Ridder and the Raiders 15-9. Drew, this was supposed to be the Desmond Ridder comeback game, and that boy looked exactly like I've said all along. He deserves to be holding a clipboard or his baby.
Listen, that was a good one. Hey, listen, he is a career backup, and I think we've noticed this since his time at Atlanta. I think he is a good emergency quarterback if your starter gets hurt, and I think he can dink and dunk his way. But unfortunately, one, he was in an awful Atlanta system that now is still now looking great, and two, is thrown into this dumpster fire of a Raiders organization. So if he can go to a team that, is somewhat competent, I think he can make a good backup or third string.
I'm gonna correct. You are such a Cincinnati homer, and it is such a lovely thing for this show because it is one of the few things where you do show some homerism. You are very analytical everywhere else, and then Bearcats click, and you're like the third Kelsey bro, and it's just like nonsense spews out of your mouth. Ryan Fitzpatrick, that was from 626, brother. It is not for you. That was
it's
not
for me.
You. No,
it's for me.
Number one. Number two, Desmond Ridder. I'm sorry. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a career backup. Desmond Ridder is a career guy wearing the hat who holds the cards and shows the plays. I know that's mostly in college.
That's in college.
Desmond Ridder is not a backup. Third stringer, I will give you. Practice squad extraordinaire when you're facing a running quarterback. Sure, he is not a backup in this league.
One, I think you're just looking for arguments today because anything that comes out of my mouth, I think you're just trying to give me crap for.
No, I'm not.
But two, listen, I think he's very similar, and you're gonna think that I'm wrong for this. He's very similar to a lesser Colt McCoy, where Colt McCoy was a backup that I think could slide in and get you a couple games. Ridder, I don't think can get you a couple games, but we need a guy to finish out this game, put in Desmond Ridder.
What's lesser than a backup?
I know, not in terms of on the depth chart, in terms of talent.
Moving on to this week. I have a major decision to make Thursday night, and that's whether or not I start Bo Nix or ride out to Patrick Mahomes.
Mine's Ladd McConkey.
There we go. Ladd McConkey, secretly your rookie of the year above all these quarterbacks, as he's second in the National Football League in receptions.
But he also is playing in insane defense.
Not rookies. Leads the league, or I'm sorry, second in the league in receptions. That's ridiculous. But
can we make this a fantasy show today, and we can just talk through what my lineup should be?
No. Thursday we kick it off with the Broncos at the Chargers, and then we have Saturday games mixed in with the college football playoffs. That is just an awful idea. I will not be watching the NFL, just to let you know. We've got Houston at Kansas City. Come on, Patrick Mahomes. And then we've got a big one, AFC North. We've got the rematch again. We've got Steelers at Ravens. I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, I like the Ravens here. And then we get to you want go ahead if you want to say something.
I just hope Derrick Henry scores like 0 points because I'm also facing him in fantasy.
This is just a fantasy show. And then we hit Sunday. We've got the Browns at the Bengals. Come on, Browns defense. I think I might hold on to you for a week.
I have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
This is such an awful show today. And the best because we screamed at each other during the Cavs segment. We've got Rams at Jets, Eagles at Commanders. Sneaky game. Big scary game for the Eagles here. We've got the Giants at the Falcons, and I think we should pause because Ken deserves some credit. The Atlanta Falcons have made a quarterback change. They have gone to Michael Penix. I want a full screen here. I want my love.
Yeah, no, listen, it was a good call. And I think the only reason why they did it is because they're still technically in a playoff race in their division.
I'm not just going to yell at you about this, but you and a lot of people said that was the reason they shouldn't go to Michael Penix Jr. because they were still in the playoff race and in the division race, and you wanted the veteran. And I'm not going to harp on you on this one, but to all of the rest of you who said that, a big double bird. You're in the playoffs. Your quarterback sucks. He is playing awful. He is playing damn near Deshaun Watson level of quarterback right now. Go to the guy who actually lit it up during the preseason. It would be different if like Watson was actually like lighting it up still. Like, I'm not saying it's the same situation, but let's go. And yes, as Dad pointed out, you're putting your rookie quarterback in the absolute perfect position. You're at home and you're playing the Giants. Congratulations. He might as well be playing in the college football playoff.
No, I just think that it's an awful idea to change quarterbacks in the middle of a playoff push. And I also think home and playing the Giants is a perfect spot to, get a veteran quarterback, back into form.
Raiders.
Yeah, but the Raiders have been a good defensive team this year. They have been terrible offensively, but
they have.
So
you also don't believe in trading Darius Garland.
Yeah, listen, you just want to get me riled up today, and I don't know why. Because when I get riled up, I don't shut up. This is why it's an hour and 15. We're not on the football segment.
Let's go, baby.
But yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. I knew they were going to do it, but I don't think it's a good idea because you don't throw a rookie quarterback in when you're trying to make the playoffs.
We shall see. Rise up, Atlanta.
I could be wrong.
No, rise up is the Cavs. Sorry, whatever Atlanta's thing is. I don't know these things.
Aren't the Cavs? Let them know.
Yeah, let them know. So maybe Atlanta is rise up. I don't know. I watch a lot of Rico stuff, so I think that's where I got the rise up from. And then we got Arizona at Carolina, and then we move into more Sunday. We've got
Titans. It is rise up.
Thank you. We've got Titans at Colts in a horrible game. We've got Lions at Bears. This might be the only chance for Chicago to get rolling and score some points. We've got Minnesota at Seattle, which should be another not good game. Bills at Patriots. Oof. And actually, I apologize. In the worst game of the year, we've got the Jaguars at the Raiders. We've got San Francisco at the Dolphins. Tampa Bay at Cowboys. That is a sneaky good game there because I think Baker's going to possibly light up our defense. Monday night, we have got Saints at Packers. NFL, move a couple of those Saturday games. Give us a Monday night triple header. Stay away from my college football.
Yeah, I mean, I get it because it's typically the time when they do Saturday games. But yeah, no, when you have to coordinate, folks, coordinate with college football to figure that out.
You don't play on Friday nights because you leave a high school football alone. Leave my college football alone, man. I got too much research to do. Now, speaking of college football, Straub, are we going to go this week's route or are we going to go to my college football year in review?
Let's do this week. We'll do your interview and then we'll do the preview.
I like it. Let's start with what Andrew would describe as an absolute heist. Your Heisman Trophy winner this year, we all kind of called it. Travis Hunter, cornerback / wide receiver, won the Heisman in a close vote. It was not a landslide. And here, I've been giving you some smack. I will give me some smack. Ken decided to go on Facebook on Sunday morning after the Heisman and fire off a little post in which I said it was robbery because Travis Hunter had an average season at wide receiver and an average season at DB, and Ashton Genty had an historic season at running back. He should have won the Heisman. I said that and I repeated my point that Travis Hunter is more deserving of the number one pick than he is the Heisman Trophy. Ashton Genty deserves the Heisman Trophy, and I started to get attacked on threads because I forgot that my Facebook is connected, and I quickly deleted that. I did not mean that Travis Hunter was average. I'm just saying he was the third ranked, I think, DB or like the fourth or fifth ranked wide receiver. I get it. I was convinced that the all-time season that Ashton Genty had was deserving. Now, however, that's over with. I'm not letting you rant on this. I'm sorry.
I'm not ranting. I was gonna give it congratulations.
But I'll pass it to you. Travis Hunter, shout out to you. However, stay out of this young kid's personal life. I am gonna add it.
Oh Lord.
My goodness, man. Like some 19 and 20-year-olds don't know how to handle being in front of the camera 24 hours a day. Okay. Let this kid and his girlfriend navigate their lives. Jesus, people.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's also coming from like older people, which makes it even weirder.
We agree, buddy.
Listen, coming from a fan of a previous Group of 5 team, we know the stigma on that. And so listen, regardless of that, I want to congratulate Travis Hunter. While a lot of people are discrediting this in favor of Chauncey, I will say, regardless of that, you had an amazing season. You had a good season as a cornerback. You had a good season as a receiver. I'm hearing the NFL teams really want him to play at cornerback in the NFL.
I'm hearing the Patriots, and that would be so good for him to go there with Drake May and be a corner, but then be able to every once in a while do some special gadget stuff and show off what he's got. I think that's a great place for him.
And so, hey, listen, congratulations to him. He is going to kill it wherever he goes, and at least he'll also be entertaining. But also, I think for Aston Chauncey, while that would have been an amazing accomplishment for him, he's got so much ahead of him. He's going to get drafted. He's going to be a beast in the NFL.
You want to talk about what
he'll be fine. Oh God, if he goes to, I mean, you need him. You really do. Honestly, you need to figure out if you want to keep Cooper Rush as your quarterback and not Dak, because you're obviously playing better with him.
Shut up. I don't even want to hear that. And hey, yeah, shout out to Deion's playbook. That thing everybody said this. Now, this is what I want to point out. I'm not mad as much about the Heisman anymore. I will say this. He was top 10 and top 5 in those wide receiver and defensive categories. He was not the best. And while he deserved the Heisman, he did not deserve some of those awards that he got because he was not number 1 at those positions. Those positions, those guys at number 1 deserve those awards. But I don't, like I said, I don't want to continue that. And no, y'all get up out of here. Y'all get up out of here. Y'all get up out of here. But all right. Now, do you want to talk about our high scoring game?
Yes.
Because it was the bleeping Army-Navy game, baby. And man, did I get this one wrong. Yeah, we were on the wrong side of this one on the uniforms and on the score.
I knew that.
As Navy took care of Army 31-13 as they locked in their Commander-in-Chief trophy as well. This was legit kind of a quarterback who looked over on the other side and said, I am so tired of you being called Captain America. He finished 6th in Heisman vote, or was 6th in the Heisman race. So he was up there, the quarterback for Army, and the quarterback for Navy was just like, nah, man, this is my day.
Yeah, this was a thing where both teams could run the football, and you obviously saw that. But when it came down to like making that pass that like got you that 3rd and long or got you out of that, 2nd and long situation to make it an easy 3rd down, Navy did it. Army could not do it. There was many times where Army had a guy open in the end zone and he couldn't hit him, while Navy was able to kind of make those passes. And so, hey, listen, congrats to Navy. Yep. They played really well. Both teams played really well. And listen, this is all we want. We want 2 good naval or 2 good academy teams playing each other at the end of the year. It's all that matters.
Getting beat by Notre Dame in the season. Sorry. Yeah. Great game, great pageantry. All the pregame stuff I was watching, they do those pregame videos right before it starts, and like, how do you not watch? Like, how do you not get goosebumps? And then both teams get a flyover. It is just everything is great. I watched the entire thing, and then I watched both teams sing into the end zone. It was amazing. So yeah, shout out to Army. Shout out to Navy. You earned it this year. I'm not gonna say that. There we go. I'm not gonna say Army let us down because I don't say that. But yeah, salute to both sides. We love you both because now these grown men are done playing college football and they're going into the military to actually protect and serve our country. So hey, salute to you guys. We salute you every day. Don't forget this weekend. Yeah, these games kick off. It starts Friday night at 8:00 with Notre Dame and Indiana. Yes, Andrew, I'm scared. I already told you that. We won't do that again. That should be a good one to kick you off. And then it starts at noon with SMU and Penn State. We then move on later in the day to Texas and Clemson, and then your nightcap, Ohio State and Tennessee. We did a preview of these games when the official rankings came out. Check in 2 weeks ago for that. We're not going to read through this preview, and we're too damn long today to go through a preview as well. But some exciting games coming up, and we are going to have, I posted it today when I posted about today's show, we will have a special Monday edition of the show, Monday the 23rd. We will pop in. We will talk about strictly these college football games, and then we will talk about the Sunday games that have happened in the NFL, and then we will get the heck out of Dodge because I know both me and Andrew want to celebrate our Christmas.
Absolutely.
And our Christmas week. So do not forget college football playoffs. And yes, heavy snow predicted for South Bend. However, listen, man, no, Indiana plays in the same damn state. They know all about.
I don't care. I want some snow football, baby. That's gonna be amazing.
That's fine. That's how Riley Leonard gets down, anyways. And I'm not putting. These are Mel's. I'll put Mel's picks up, but I want nothing to do with any parts of picking this. Mel's got the horns over the Clemson. And he's got SMU on a surprise upset. Yeah, I think Penn State could be in trouble. But Buckeyes out for blood. We'll see.
Homer pick. If we're talking homerism.
Yeah, that's a homer pick, but we will see. I will say this, the Buckeyes better watch out because that Tennessee defensive line is really, really good, and that Ohio State offensive line has been
banged up.
And it's banged up. So, all right. So that'll do it for that. Now, it's bowl season, baby, and we've had some bowl games. Jackson State over South Carolina State. We had South Alabama over Western Michigan. I do not know what the score of the Memphis West Virginia game
Memphis,
because I ain't watching.
Held on and won 42-37 over West Virginia.
Damn. I know the college football guys telling, "Oh, Dad's nervous about the Buckeyes. He should be. You should be. Anytime you play SEC team, you should be scared." I did not watch Memphis and West Virginia. I have not watched.
Great game. Great game.
Beautiful. I know the college football guy is telling you that I don't watch these bowl games, but I don't care. I was watching the NBA Cup final.
I will say, so those two last games, they're on tonight. Yes. Western Kentucky, James Madison currently playing 7-7 halfway through the second quarter. We picked James Madison, and Cal and UNLV are in the Art of Sport LA Bowl is on at 9. So that game is yet to start. We both picked Cal.
Hosted by Gronk. And now listen, we don't just pick homer picks. I'm just saying.
You know how depressed I was about the Cincinnati Bearcats football team this season? There was no homerism there.
No, and I barely let you squeeze them in. I didn't even give you a segment this year.
I know. Deservingly.
Right. So that'll do it on my end. Drew, it is bowl pick'em time, baby.
Yes, and just to make sure everyone knows, these are the bowl standings so far. Ken is 1-2. I am 2-1. 3 games have been played. 35 bowl games remaining. So lots to worry about here. Everyone's still in it.
We have 28 games between this week's show.
Oh, yeah, those don't count playoff games, by the way.
No, they don't. Excuse me. If you exclude Monday's show, in which we are not going to talk about bowl games other than the college football playoff, there are 28 bowl games between this week's show and the next time we will talk to you. So we are going to now preview every single of the... No, I'm just joking. All right.
4-hour show, baby.
Let's do this as quickly as possible. Drew, let it run through, and let's make these picks.
All right. First game on Thursday, Georgia Southern versus Sam Houston in the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl.
Sure, Sam Houston.
I'm going to go Georgia Southern on that one. Friday, Ohio versus Jacksonville State in the Staff DNA Cure Bowl.
Mac, Ohio.
Jacksonville State. We are two on differences.
I'm going to be
Tulane versus Florida in the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl.
Ooh, Tulane wants it more. Give me an SEC team with too much depth still.
Florida came on strong at the end. I'm picking Florida. All right. Sorry, I'm tripping here. Here it is. Coastal Carolina versus UTSA in the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Coastal Carolina.
UTSA, they came on strong at the end of the year. Northern Illinois versus Fresno State in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Fresno State and who?
Northern Illinois, your rival.
Fell apart this season. Give me whoever.
Fresno State. See, they fell apart too. So both teams fell apart, but I like Fresno State in this one.
I messed up on that last one.
Yeah, you did. South Florida versus San Jose State in the Hawaii Bowl.
Oh, I can't pick against San Jose State.
I know you can't, but I'm going to agree with you on here. I'm going to go San Jose State.
Shout out to Ken Newman.
That is on Christmas Eve, by the way, at 8 p.m.
And shout out to Scott Steiner's son who's on Jacksonville State. We're pro Steiners here.
Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, Pitt versus Toledo in the Game Above Sports Bowl.
Oh, that's got to be a little rivalry. That's kind of close. Eat shit, Pitt. I'm never picking Pitt.
Toledo is not as good as they were, and Pitt is actually pretty decent this year. I'm going to pick Pitt.
And this is why I'm going to lose bowl pick'ems because I don't care.
Yes.
I'm not picking Pitt.
Rutgers versus Kansas State in the Rate Bowl.
That's another team. I can't pick Kansas State. I don't like Kansas State. I don't believe they'll probably gonna. You know what? No, give me Rutgers. Screw it.
I'm gonna pick Kansas State.
I'm gonna be 2 and what do I have? 1 right? I'm gonna be 1 in whatever, but that's okay.
Arkansas State versus Bowling Green in the 68 Ventures Bowl.
I'm standing on business. Bowling Green, one of my favorite teams to bet on last year.
Bowling Green.
Let's go.
Friday, Oklahoma versus Navy in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl.
You're giving me an academy, a military academy in the Lockheed Armed Forces Bowl, and you think I'm picking who?
Oklahoma.
No, Oklahoma. Give me Navy.
Give me Navy as well, just because. Like, if it was any other bowl game, I'd pick Oklahoma, but we're picking Navy.
The Lockheed Martin military bowl.
Georgia Tech versus Vanderbilt in the Birmingham Bowl.
Vandy.
Oh, both teams that are very, very twitchy upstarts. Give me Vandy.
Okay.
Good question.
What if he's playing? Give me Vandy.
I'm going to pick Vandy too. Texas Tech versus Arkansas in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
God, who cares? Arkansas.
Texas Tech. That is Big 12 bias, absolutely. Syracuse versus Washington State in the DirecTV Holiday Bowl.
That's going to be a bowl worth watching. That's going to be a high-scoring bowl. Give me Syracuse.
I'm going to Cuse as well. It's on Fox too, 8 p.m. USC versus Texas A&M in the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl.
Ooh, USC offense too much for Texas A&M.
I like that. I'm going to pick that too, actually. UConn 8-4 UConn, by the way, versus North Carolina in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
Oh, dude, the Bill Belichick effect. I would have taken UConn. Shout out to UConn, but no, they're gonna get Belichick.
I don't think so because I think no one's gonna be there. Everyone's gonna transfer.
Oh, that's
UConn.
Give me UConn. I'm changing my pick.
I'm picking UConn. I'll let you do it. UConn. Also, it's the Fenway Bowl, so they're playing at Fenway. I played there. It's terrible. We're not watching that game.
Bill Belichick in Fenway. Oh, now you're giving me all the bad things. Go ahead.
Boston College versus Nebraska in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
Shout out to Dad. Is that hoops? Are we doing hoops? Oh, you got to give me that one again. That threw me.
Boston College versus Nebraska in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
That's actually a good game.
It's a great game.
I don't think they want Raiola hurt. Give me Boston College. They're gonna play more physical.
Yeah, I agree as well. Boston College. Louisiana versus, I think this might be the Marshall one. Louisiana versus TCU in the Isleta, New Mexico Bowl.
Ooh, you know what? I would have taken TCU. Give me a team that you allowed to come into a bowl game like that with nothing to play for originally that you now gave a bowl game to. Give me Louisiana with an upset.
I would like that, but I've seen this TCU team this year. They're very, very good, especially if they can dominate. I'm going to take TCU.
Once again,
here we go. Yeah, shout out to UConn. Iowa State versus Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Ooh. We know.
Does Miami want to play for something?
Cam Ward ain't playing. So give me who? I'm so bad at
Iowa State.
Give me Iowa State with more to play for. Miami, Cam Ward ain't playing. Guys getting ready for the draft. No, give me, no.
I think this is a very similar to Georgia, Cincinnati a couple years ago before we made the playoffs, where I think Georgia's pulled it off. I think Miami's going to pull it off. I'm going to pick Miami.
Okay.
Miami of Ohio versus Colorado State in the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
Oh, I want to be high there. That would be so
awesome. On the CW, by the way.
On the CW, followed by episodes of The Supernatural and Charmed. Man, that would be an awesome bowl. Literally. Give me man. I picked against Miami. Give me this Miami. Give me Miami of Ohio. That's way too long to take.
I'll take Miami of Ohio too because it makes me look better.
I was too excited.
East Carolina versus NC State in the Go Bowling Military Bowl.
That's where Army should be playing, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
Who cares? NC State.
I'm going to take NC State as well. BYU versus Colorado in the Valero Alamo Bowl.
Ooh, this is no Shador and Travis Hunter though. Because listen, we're riding with the theme. In Coach Prime, I trust.
I'm glad. I'm gonna pick BYU because I love this BYU team.
They're really
I'm
good.
sorry.
They're probably gonna win.
This is the one where Marshall was in. Louisiana Tech versus Army in the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Then I might. Well, you screwed me on that pick because then I think I may have taken the other team in the other one, but that's okay. Louisiana Tech versus who?
Army.
Oh, Army. I'm not picking against
Army. And then that was, by the way, that's just on Saturday. I lost my spot completely. Hold on. On Monday, Iowa versus Missouri in the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
Iowa.
I'm going to take Missouri. In the most lopsided game, and only because they wanted views, Alabama versus Michigan in the Relay Quest Bowl.
It's such a bad Alabama. That's such a bad game.
Alabama, absolutely.
We almost done.
Louisville versus Washington in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Louisville.
I'm going to pick Louisville as well. South Carolina versus Illinois in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
Yes.
South Carolina, absolutely, me as well. Baylor versus LSU in the Kinder's Texas Bowl.
LSU.
I'm going to pick LSU as well. And then that is actually it because the next game is Thursday, January 2nd. And that's are we going to have it second on Thursday? Yeah. So then we're done. After that, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 more games after that.
No more. All right. Wow. That was awful. Not your fault. That was awful.
I had a great time. I have to go back and write all this down.
No, I got you. All right. Now, let's do our year in review. The college football regular season is officially over now that Army and Navy have played, and Ken made some bold predictions at the beginning of the year. Let's check back in. Let's start with the previous year's predictions, where I absolutely killed it with all of that stuff. Let's get to this year. Yeah.
Did you want to repick the other game?
Just give me the other team. I don't care.
You want? Okay, so I'm going to let you know, but you keep going.
That's fine. So let's get to this year. First bold take. I told you that the U would be back. I told you that Cam Ward was a major upgrade. I told you that Mario Cristobal would learn from his mistakes of blowing games, and I gave you their portal rankings. I'm giving myself a green check. A team in Miami that was a laughingstock who turned around this year and literally could have still made the college football playoffs, was one game away from an ACC championship game and a guaranteed spot in then. I think the U is back. I think I deserve my green check mark.
So I think for me, right, if you were to talk to Miami and college football fans from before the season, I think that you were absolutely correct. Like if you were to say, hey, they had 3 losses, and they didn't make their championship game. You would say, okay, that's good for Miami. If you were to talk to Miami college football fans now, I would say they'd be very much more hesitant to give you this one. But I think we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I think in general they did a Texas. They made it further than people thought, but they didn't make it to their standards.
Got you. But listen.
I'll give it to you. That's a check.
And that's why you come to me, you fans. All right, let's move on. The downfall of Bama, be careful. Now, I'm giving myself a green check mark for this reason. Everyone was saying how Alabama, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? They might, Nick Saban is gone. It's over. Kalen DeBoer, the job's too big, blah, 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 blah. Alabama was one game from the SEC championship and one game from the college football playoffs. The standard at Alabama is not allowed to be what Nick Saban said it as because that standard will never be matched in any program for the foreseeable future, because there's no coach in college football good enough to do that anymore with the landscape of college football right now. It's why we give teams like the Patriots and the Chiefs the love that we do for their dynasties, because they're modern dynasties. They're modern dynasties. You don't have dynasties like that in sports anymore. The franchises and the owners have made it impossible because they don't want that. So for me, the downfall of Alabama, like everyone talked about, would have been them at the low, would have been a Michigan year. This was not a Michigan year. This was a really, really good year for Alabama. And being on the cusp of the college football playoff after losing Nick Saban is a green check mark in my book.
Yeah, I think same as Miami, where you ask Bama fans end of the beginning of the year, hey, 3 losses and you just miss it. Yeah, we'll take that in his first year. You ask them now, you go, no, we should have had that. That should have been us, especially if they lost to Oklahoma.
And that's why you come to me. That's why you come to me. The fans are too irrational sometimes. That it's okay. All right, next box. It's okay. Buckeye Nation. I said that you would go undefeated. No. I apologize. I said you would not go undefeated. I got that one correct. I said you would win the Big Ten championship. Oof. I said you would get a college football playoff bye. No. And I said 3 times that you would beat Michigan. I will take all 3 of my X's there. I did not do great on the Buckeyes. However, I did say they'd make the playoffs. I got that one right. That's yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can give yourself some pat there, but no, this one was a big. I mean, nobody was ready for this, and so
I think Buckeye Nation agrees with me with all these red X's. So, all right, moving on. Boom! I told you these Ducks were ready to take off. Okay, I told you Dan Lanning is the next coaching star, and I told you that they're talented and as deep as a roster in Georgia as Ohio State, and they proved that.
No, this one's absolutely correct. I think. While I believe we haven't seen the best of Oregon or seen Oregon really get put to the test maybe in that Ohio State game, I think that they have proved that they're the best team in the nation right now.
Thank you. This one's a little up and down. I told you that some newcomers, will rise and some newcomers will stumble. I did not think the 2 teams entering the SEC with horrible strength of schedule would do very well. And I thought 2 teams going into the Big Ten with softer schedules and good offenses would do better. Well, we'll split the difference. I absolutely nailed it on Oregon. I absolutely nailed it on Oklahoma being bad, but I was wrong. I will give Texas its credit. They stumbled a bit, but they survived the SEC even into the championship game. And USC, I actually thought would be better. My only credit to USC is in every single game this year, minus the Notre Dame game, they took a lead into the 4th quarter. That's a good team there.
No, you're not wrong, but I will give myself credit because I remember talking about this where I said, listen, it's tough going to Purdue and all those teams when it hits November, December, and you got to play in that cold, and you get to the 4th quarter, and you're like, my Lord, I can't feel my hands. I remember talking about this. I'm going to give myself credit for that, but I do give you some credit for Oregon and Oklahoma there. Texas, I mean, we didn't. I also remember you saying that they weren't going to do awful. You just didn't think they were going to do as well as they did. And honestly, they didn't win the SEC championship. They don't have a bye, so it's not like they did amazingly, but they handled the gauntlet well for what they were given.
And I will say this: if it's a 14 playoff, Texas doesn't make it, and that's a green check mark.
This is true.
So, and I'm just going to spoiler alert, possibly, but I mean, you'll all forget about this. It's going to be 6 months. I'm going to pick another team this year that to be back. I picked Texas originally. Actually, I originally picked Michigan. Then I picked Texas at the same time. And then I picked the U this year. USC, sneaky early contender for that, is back in potential Big Ten conference making a run. But we're not
going to see this transfer portal.
Right. We need to get to next year. I will say they lost their they lost the quarterback that they didn't want anymore, but we got to see too much movement happen there. And lastly, I told you Riley Leonard plays 12 games. Notre Dame makes the college football playoffs. And ladies and gentlemen, Riley Leonard played 12 games, and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish made the college football playoffs. A big stumble in the middle there. Well, at the early on there with Northern Illinois, but he absolutely turned it around. And I would have to say, Drew, I kind of nailed it again this year.
You did really good. I think the Ohio State one was the only one where you really just kind of messed up. But I think all in all, those are really good picks. I think you're on the edge for a couple of them. I think that Bama and the other one I think was a little were tough, but I would give you the benefit of the doubt on that.
Bama and Miami being in that graphic up until the last day is what kind of saved me there.
Yeah, you didn't nail it, but I think that we're going to give it to you. And so I wouldn't say 5 out of 6, 4.5 out of 6. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Every day of the week, baby. We're pro positive on our gambling here. So, all right, a lot of football there, a lot of long segment there, but good stuff there. But what that tells me to tell you is when you want to hear college football, this is where you come right here. You get your good predictions here, and you get your good analysts from over here. I gave you the wrong way the last time. I always do that. It's okay. You're opposite on my screen. I still don't get used to it. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the footy.
Absolutely.
Oh, no wardrobe changes needed. No. You full screen me. You full screen me right now. You full screen me right now. All right. Where are you, Sean? Where are you, Sean? You hiding like the rest of your city? Or you're half of the city boy?
All right. I don't think I've ever been this cocky after a win in my life.
Manchester is red. So we've got some good points to talk about this week, just like we do at the NFL. There's the scores, but let's hit the topics. Our first one, glory, Man United. Is Manchester United topple City 2-1 in the Manchester Derby. Newcastle and Spurs run rampant this week with a 5-0 and 4-0 wins. Arsenal are held by Everton. Liverpool are held by Fulham. 2 major talking points. I will give out some love. Chelsea struggle, but win. That is key. You had a red card. I mean, you had a red card
after the game.
Oh, was it after the game red card? I didn't watch it.
Cucurella complained to the ref and he got a second yellow.
Oh, well, he deserved it. But
absolutely. I'm just saying.
I do. I mean, it also was Brentford. And I know they're 9th in the table, but still, they're Brentford. You should beat Brentford. But 2-1, and I would say this. I would think you would agree. This is 2-2 last year. This is not a game that Chelsea pulled off last year. So
you're absolutely right. And I will say, we didn't give up a goal until I think the 89th, 91st minute. That's a goal in the 75th, 80th minute last year. And that's a tying goal in the 89th, 91st minute last year. So a great win, a win that keeps the momentum going. It's not a win that exceeds it, but it keeps it going.
Absolutely. And then before we circle back to our points, lastly, Manchester United turned Manchester red, as it always is, as they win the Manchester Derby 2-1. Don't know if I had mentioned that one at all during this show. So, Drew, let's start with what I think is actually the real talking point of the week. Liverpool and Arsenal drop points.
So, Liverpool, I think, just came up against a really, really hot Fulham team right now. I think this Fulham team
in the Premier League.
I want to say one of the best fullbacks, left backs in the Premier League right now, in Anthony Robinson. But a great defense in general, and an attack that can spring really, really well, and they showed that. Also, them going down to 10 men really didn't help them. So I want to say this isn't a one-off for Liverpool. I think they just got unlucky. Arsenal, though, this is something that kind of had been building when Odegaard got injured, but now it's something that is continuing even now that he's back. A team that kind of lacks that killer instinct in the final third, kind of like Chelsea did the past couple of years, where their build-up play is fantastic and they can defend really well. But as soon as you get to your wingers, your strikers, it seems like that cohesion that just dies, and it either leads to a corner kick or a free kick, and there's no actual deadly threat in the attack. And I think you can see this against a good Everton defense, but not a lot of threatening here.
And Corner FC has been so reliant on those corner kick goals that when the occasional ones that they get in open play dry up, a little easier to defend you then. And a little easier to defend you when I know all you have is the corner kick. So, trouble there for Arsenal. Liverpool, I kind of agree with you there. I do. I want to talk about this because I brought it up last week when I made a mention and I had asked you a question. If 11 through 13, possibly 14, Spurs, Newcastle, Manchester United, and West Ham, but mostly Spurs, Newcastle, and Manchester United, had an opportunity that when the season ended to jump Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham, possibly Villa, possibly Forest. Those two scores over on that side, 5-0 Spurs over Southampton, Newcastle 4-0 over Leicester, are the results that I'm talking about when I made that prediction. That look at all the red above them. Brentford lost to Chelsea. Fulham, great draw, but it's still a draw. Bournemouth, great draw, still a draw. Brighton, Villa, both lose. Forest, yes, they did pull out a good win, but it was right over there against Villa. So a lot of these teams are going to drop these random games because they don't have the squad depth, where a Spurs, a Newcastle, and a Manchester United, boom, 3 points. Here we keep going.
And we can now see the results of that in this upcoming games, where we have a little bit of a shift, but nothing too crazy. Nottingham jumped to a Champions League position in 4th as City drop out to 5th. Bournemouth, you're 6th in your European Conference League spot right now, as Villa and Fulham and Brighton round out the next, where Tottenham, Brentford, Newcastle, and United still, even with a big victory, cannot get out of 13th. Now you know how I feel the past couple years, where even after a big win, you're like, oh yeah, we're still kind of down there, and we still need to. The thing is, you need to string it along. That's what I said last week. You need to string wins along, and you can't let this momentum go to waste.
And the reason I am not panicking at all, do you still consider Arsenal in the title race based on points? I said based on points.
I know. Now I'm thinking based on form and based on Arsenal. Yes.
They are 6 points away.
I know. I'm thinking on how Everton's going to finish and how they always finish.
Do me a favor and do some math for me. What is the difference between Manchester United and Nottingham Forest?
Let's see. That's 28, and that's 22. Oh my God, it's 6.
So if Arsenal's in the title race, I'm in the top 4 race. I'm comfortable with where I'm at, with what my coach is doing. Now, I have a question for you because I didn't actually get your thoughts on it. The Manchester Derby.
Well, a great win for you. Absolutely fantastic win. I don't believe that is due to your play.
Oh, no, we caught Manchester City.
You caught them at a perfect time, and you got lucky with the awful back pass that led to the penalty and a shell-shocked defense that allowed that through ball to,
Shout out to Lisandro Martinez for the beautiful through ball that my coach was yelling him to play to Amad Diallo. And then Diallo just with a beautiful touch over the keeper and finished it home. And the same guy who made the penalty mistake had a chance to clear that ball, but tried to get too fancy with it, and the ball went through his legs in for a goal. 2-1 win for Manchester United. I think the bigger news coming out of Manchester United was the fact that Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho were dropped from the team sheet this week, leading to speculation. There's been some rumors of there's been a lot of news out of my team being leaked throughout the year. I've been so in touch with my team, as I always am, but I know a lot more this year because a lot is just being exposed and being leaked. And it was rumored that Garnacho and Rashford were part of that leak. Coach shut that down, which I was happy to see. However, he had made a mention that the reason they were dropped had to do with, he said, it isn't just about how you play in the game and how you train, but it is your attitude and how you are around in the locker room and how you are around other players. And I think that is majorly telling. Alejandro Garnacho is a very passionate, somewhat cocky player. I believe cockiness in soccer is one of the major, actually good traits in soccer compared to other sports.
On the field, yes.
Yeah, I think it's really, really helpful sometimes. I think where sometimes in a basketball player can be detrimental, I think in a soccer player can be great sometimes, or more times than not. And Garnacho is passionate. He wants to play. And since he has been brought up by Eric Ten Hag, when he has not played, he has been pretty vocal about not liking it. The problem is Ruben Amorim is not going to allow that, and you are not going to even be in the match day squad if you act like that. I believe lesson learned with Garnacho. I believe he'll change his tune, and I think he'll be back in the squad shortly.
However, and you hope so. You hope so.
Marcus Rashford. Since that news leaked, Marcus Rashford then did an interview in which he said he was ready to move on to another challenge. However, stating that it would be nothing but love, there would be no hard will or harsh words or any ill will towards the club or anything, leading for me to, obviously, considering he's been also left out of tomorrow's match day squad against Spurs, that we will be moving on from Marcus Rashford. We would like to in January, but for sure on the end of that, you should be the ones giving this news to me so I could respond to it. But before I give my thoughts, your thoughts on the fact that somebody that I have yelled about for years because he's kind of carried our team through some dark times is on his way out.
Yeah.
Pause for 1 second. Hi, Sean.
I saw that.
Hi, Sean. Manchester is red.
So I genuinely don't know if it equals this, and this is not being cocky. This is me just generally not knowing your feelings of him in terms of impact. It feels like an Eden Hazard moment. It feels like a player who has been with this team through the good times and the bad. And while I feel like Eden Hazard was, I think, at a higher level than Marcus Rashford at times, I think that the commitment to the club through those times is something that that doesn't go unnoticed. And yes, there are times he maybe was feeling frustrated. Hazard felt frustrated for a lot of the times too. It happens. But to be at a club for so long, the fans, regardless of that, tend to gravitate towards you because, especially in this kind of club where players come and go yearly, to see someone stay that long, it makes you feel like you're connected to them somehow. So when they leave, even if it is for the best, you wish them the best because you want them to succeed in other places because they made being a fan worth it at times.
So I'm going to correct you a little bit because your team is a little bit different than mine. And
a little bit.
You can bring up your success, and that's fine. But Chelsea is not full of homegrown stars. You bought Eden Hazard.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know you're going to bring up your academy player, please, but
that's why I stopped talking.
The thing at Manchester United, it is our thing. It's the class of 91. They get brought up forever for a reason. Giggs, Scholes, Beckham, Neville, both Neville brothers, Nicky Butt, that class that came up through the academy and then were stars for the team that carried us to championships. The difference between why I say the difference, because you brought up Eden Hazard, is Marcus Rashford was one of ours. He came up through the academy. He's a Manchester boy. He grew up rooting for the team. He went through the academy. He made the first team. Was electric. Was a star for our team. And unlike Hazard, once again, you won things with Eden Hazard. We've won an FA Cup in some community or some league cups with Marcus Rashford. I'll never forget his debut. I'll never forget the night in Paris, in which we took down PSG in the Champions League. But there's more, what could have been with Marcus Rashford than I loved you and our time is up. But the problem is, it's he came up through that academy, same as Kobe Mainoo, same as Garnacho, so as some of these young players that I've loved. And to see Phil Jones, to see somebody, and it dawned on me when I keep seeing 27, for the longest time, Marcus Rashford's been 24 forever. He's been a kid forever. And then when I finally looked up and I saw that, and it was like, man, he's 27 years old. He still hasn't figured out how to be a professional. He's at the Nick game instead of being at, in training, and, he's all the way in America and stuff like that. It's just, I don't think Marcus gets it, but he got it enough to know it is time for me to move on, or I'm going to be Jesse Lingard, or I'm going to be Dele Alli. I'm going to be one of these guys who has amazing skills and amazing unlimited potential and blows it away because being a star is more important than being a player.
So I think I can kind of relate to this a little bit because I think the Hazard was a little lack of an analogy. Because we, like I said, we brought him in, he became the player he was, and then he left for greener pastures. So that class of 91, you said there actually was a crop of players that didn't rival that at all, but was that group of everyone's coming up at the same time. And that was in 2018. That was your Mason Mount, your Ruben Loftus-Cheek, your Reece James, your Calvin Hudson-Odoi, your Connor Gallagher, your Mark Gahey, your Fikayo Tomori. Everyone came up under Frank Lampard at that time. And because he let the kids play. And you see where they are now. Ruben and Fikayo are at Milan. Mason, I know he hasn't played too well for you, but he's with you, and he played him. He was our player of the year for 3 years running, including the Champions League run. Reece James, when healthy, which I know is a funny statement at this point, is the best right back in the Premier League. Connor Gallagher is amazing at Atletico Madrid right now. While they didn't stay as long as I feel they should have, similar to a Marcus Rashford stayed long. It's a big question of we wanted them to succeed so badly because they came from us. We are known for sometimes being big spenders and getting the guy that we need. But when we grow them ourselves and we bring them up and they come through and earn their spot themselves.
Yep, it does. Sorry, you cut out there at the end, bro, so I had to jump in. You're good. Oh, your headphones died on you. Yeah, I agree. And you're 100% right. When you grow them from home like that, they hurt more. Rashi, I wish you the best. 100% wish you the best. Wherever you go. And what I do know is, as a tradition in soccer, I know if we ever play against Manchester, or if you ever play against Manchester United and you do score, I know 100% that you will not celebrate, because you don't celebrate against your old club when you love them. So that'll be that. So I will, while Drew figures out what he's got going on, he's having some technical issues, I will clean up the rest of this week's games before I lobby for him to be ready for Americans Abroad, because I can't do that. I don't literally know what happened. But we've got Liverpool at Spurs. That's a big one. We've got Chelsea at Everton, Manchester City and Aston Villa in a clash of top 7, I should say there. Manchester United have Bournemouth this week, so I have that. Chelsea take on Everton in a nice little derby there. Yeah. Straub, can you wing it? Can you just, I don't know. If not, I will cue the music myself, and I will take care of Americans Abroad. We're getting close to the end of the show anyways. So my stalling can only last so long for you. Bro, you want me to just go? Maybe not. Riveting television. Yeah. Oh, let me find his graphic. Let me find my music. That's all right. Sometimes bro got to put the cape on and take care of business. Drew, I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds while I get it all together. That's all right, bro. Got to roll. No worries. Let's see if I can do this myself. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it's time for. Presented to you this week by Big Bro. It is time for Americans Abroad. Cue my music. Boom. Cameron Carter-Vickers and Ashton Trusty won the Scottish League Cup with Celtic this week. Wanted to give them a huge shout out. I did actually see some of that. A big shout out, and we already talked about him. Anthony Robinson from Fulham, 2 assists and man of the match in that 2-2 draw, keeping it rolling there. Gio Reyna, welcome back. A goal in a 1-1 draw for Dortmund. Happy to see him back. Alejandro Zendejas, a continuing contributor to Americans Abroad, with a goal, an assist, and a man of the match. Then another assist in a 1-1 draw and a League MX championship. Timmy Weah for Juventus, an assist in a 4-0 win. And we wrap it up with our resident striker, Ricardo Pepi of PSV, 2 goals, was 14th in an 8-0 win. How is that? And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you kill Americans abroad. Boom. All good. All good. Strabo says his audio cut out. He can't hear anything. All good, bro. Don't even worry about it. Everybody loves you. So, as you know, Americans Abroad does it for us. So that will do it for us here on the Strawbro Sports Show. Little craziness to the end here, but you know what? Rather it be at the end than the beginning. Nobody cares about the end anyways. Well, we care about Americans Abroad, but you already know what it is. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. Like I said, special Wednesday night show. Remember, we will be live Monday night, the 23rd. That will be a special Christmas edition. We will be covering strictly college football playoffs results, previewing very shortly the next upcoming games, and then after that, we will talk about the NFL Saturday and Thursday, Saturday and Sunday that happened, and either we will be crying because we will need a Monday Night Miracle for our fantasy leagues, or celebrating because we've already got it locked up. Either way, who knows? But stay tuned for that. I will send out some reminders because after that, we're going to take a little bit of break for the Christmas week and celebrate the holiday. So, as I said, that will do it there. I want to give some love real quick as I wrap the show up. Strabo, don't even worry about it, baby. I got you. Remember, Strawbro Sports Show, you can find us everywhere. If you're not watching on your phone right now, take out your phone, snap out that camera, hit that QR code. It'll take you to the Strawbro Sports Show YouTube page, your one-stop shop for everything Strawbro Sports Show. All of our interviews, the podcast is live there now, and it is will be there available to watch afterwards. All of our interviews with Akron City are there. All of our interviews with our Browns legends, Hanford Dixon and Joshua Cribbs. We also have all of our stuff that we're doing with the Rapids. You can find us everywhere else as well. On Twitter, you can find us at Strawbro Sports. Save the TikTok at the SBSS. Jump in if you want to. You can find us on Instagram at Strawbro Sports Show. And you can find us on Spotify at the Strawbro Sports Show. Boom. Make sure you check in with our biggest guy here, Austin. Our polo guy, the guy who made our polos, our clothing wear guy, Austin at Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you follow him on Instagram, Create Your Own Wave 2021. And if you need anything, make sure you get it at cyowapparel.myshopify.com. And remember, I'm going to bring you back in. The Strawbro Sports Show. Welcome back, bro. Way to just fail on me there. It's okay, brother. Don't worry about it. And we can barely hear you anyway, so don't even worry about it. Strawbro Sports Show, your official broadcast team for the Rapids. Interview dropping tomorrow. Like I said, no idea which one because we haven't decided yet, but it'll go out. It'll be out all over all of our platforms, and it'll also be then unlocked on the YouTube page, which reminds me I need to go unlock a couple because they're locked until they debut. You can't have them. So make sure you check that out. Remember, we did have our Christmas toy drive. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Rico McGee of the Rulers Minute, who participated heavy in that Keys to Serenity toy drive. A big shout out to all of the players and coaches who helped out as well to make that thing very, very successful. So we get to successfully retire this graphic this week. And then remember, Rico McGee, our official sideline personality for the Falls Rapid, the third man to our NWO, as we take over the absolute, I almost said pro wrestling world, the pro development football world. The Rapids are coming, spread the wave, because that wave is going to turn into a tsunami here very quickly. Last but not least, Schmoopy Sweets and Treats. Much love to you, Paula. Make sure you hop in on the Facebook page, and that's where you can find everything that you need. Christmas is wrapped up. If you don't have your Christmas orders in, you get an F this year. You get coal in your stocking. Make sure you check her out. There are New Year's Eve custom cupcakes and cookies available, and you get free chocolate covered pretzels with those ordered. Breads and other cookies also available. And the graphic of the week, remember, those cheesecakes, yes. I mean, come on. Sugar cookie cheesecake, like that is just ridiculous. I love you for that, Paula. So shout out to that. Shout out to all our friends of the show. That will do it for us on the Strawbro Show. we got to wrap this thing up. It's all over the place. It is completely off the rails, but that'll do it. Big bro Ken, little bro Drew. Much love to all of you in the comment section. You guys were amazing this week, making us go back and forth. You guys were also helpful as we just completely derailed the end. Thank you for that. Much love to everybody. And please, 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 especially in this holiday season, I'm going to harp on it. Please remember to love yours.